guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're doing what I think is going to be a fun tier ranking. Basically, we're going to be ranking romance book couples based on how long I think they lasted together. I was recently reading a romance book that I really enjoyed, but as soon as I finished the book, my immediate thought was that there is no way in hell this couple did not immediately break up. And that kind of led me down this rabbit hole of like thinking about other romance couples in books that I've read and whether or not I think that they were gonna last for a long time. I pulled out a bunch of popular romance book titles and we are going to see how long I think they end up staying together. So here are my tiers. I only have 4. At the bottom, as the iconic Adele once said,
divorce, babe, divorce.
This tier is going to be for all the couples that I think there's no way in hell they last together. These are gonna be the couples that I'm even shocked they ended up together by the end of the book. Then, right above that, we have 50-50. These are going to be couples that I could see staying together or I could see breaking up. These are probably going to be couples that I feel like they have unresolved problems or there's obstacles that I feel like they're still gonna be facing and I don't really know how they would work through them. Then we have just, they would make it. These are gonna be couples that I feel like are well suited together. I feel like they have the makings for a long-term great relationship. And then the very top tier is soulmates. Now the difference between soulmates and they would make it is that I could potentially see the couples in they would make it breaking up. I don't think it would happen, but I could see it. Whereas the soulmate couples, I think there is not a thing in the world that would split them up. I think that the only way they would ever leave each other is in death, and not even then. I think that they would find each other in the afterlife. So we're just going to start ranking. First book that I have here is Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I think that they would make it. This was a really adorable couple. One of my favorite aspects of this couple is that there's mutual caretaking scenes at different points in this book. They each get injured and the other one has to take care of them, and it's just the softest, sweetest romance. I 100% think that they would make it. Loki has risen. Are you just standing under the covers? What's going on? Hi. Next we have Radiance and their soulmates. And the reason that I think this is because their relationship was not love at first sight. It was not even attraction at first sight. They thought that each other is the ugliest thing that they've ever seen. And then through the course of their friendship, they fell in love with each other's soul and then grew to love the hideousness on the outside. And if that is not a soulmate, I don't know what is. Next we have Ice Planet Barbarian. This is the first one. And I'm gonna say that this is divorce. And my reasoning for this, I honestly feel like I would put every book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series into this. Now, I love this series. I love a good alien romance. However, you could not convince me that if these women had a way to get home, they would take it. I'm sorry. The only reason they're with these blue aliens is because they have no choice. Because the only way to survive on this ice planet is to find a mate. But you're telling me that if a spaceship showed up and said, hey, do you want to go home, they would stay there? No, you cannot convince me. The next one we have is Priest by Sierra Simone, and I'm gonna put this in divorce. I can't tell you a single thing about this romance, like the actual romance. I can tell you about the smut that happened in this book. I distinctly remember that, but like, I feel like this was the case of like, it was hot because it was wrong. I feel like he might resent her a little bit for making him break his vow. I don't know. I don't see like longevity potential in this. I mean, he's a priest. Next I have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, and this is gonna go in 50-50. And I do think that there's a chance that this couple could end up together because their whole relationship is built off of this like back and forth banter where they play these like mind games with each other. Now, I feel like either that could really work for their relationship or eventually it gets old, it gets annoying, and they just actually start hating each other. Like the hating is not fake, it turns into actual hate. The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I also think they're 50-50. Don't get me wrong, I love this book. This is one of my favorite romance books. However, this couple are just so different from each other that again, it could last. Opposites attract, I know that. Or it could like really drive them apart eventually. I do know that this book has sequels. I'm gonna assume at some point in the sequels they break up. That is why I have not read them. I don't need to know that. Next we have From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata, which is gonna go in 50-50. Solely for the reason that this couple doesn't get together until the very end of the book. So we never really get to see them together as a couple. So I don't know necessarily how they are as a couple, how compatible they are once they're actually together. So I could see them lasting or I could see them breaking up. The next one is Born Darkly by Trisha Wolfe, and this is going in divorce. This is one of my favorite dark romances. However, it is a romance with a serial killer, and I'm sorry. On no planet do I think a serial killer romance is gonna last. It's just not. Like, you're gonna have a happy ever after with a serial killer? Really? Like, it's hot, it's wrong, but like, you think you're gonna grow old with a serial killer? The next one we have is Hero by Lauren Rowe. I think that they would make it. This couple went through a lot of really emotional things separately and together, and I feel like it just made them stronger. It made them love each other more, and I think that they would make it. Then we have Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Actually, we have a bunch of the boyfriend's dad romances, so let me pull all those up to the front so we can just do them all together because I have very similar opinions about all of them. If you are no stranger to my channel, you know that the ex-boyfriend's dad trope is my favorite. However, I don't think these couples would last. We're gonna put Birthday Girl and Divorce Babe. We're putting the Doctor and Divorce Babe. These two for the same reason, being that I believe that the heroine in both of these books is like 19, and I'm sorry, but I do not believe that these girls like 10 years later, 15 years later, they're gonna want to still be with these crusty, dusty old men. Like, they started dating these 40-year-old men when they're 19. I just really think when they're in their 30s, these girls are gonna like wake up next to this old, dusty man and be like, how did I get here? But again, listen, I love these books, okay? It is hot. But just because it's hot doesn't mean it's gonna last forever. So then we have Your Dad Will Do, which I think this one is gonna be in Divorce Babe too, for a different reason. This is the one that's like the most leaning into the revenge. Even on the dad's side, the other two dads, Birthday Girl and the Doctor, they were like reluctant to date their son's ex-girlfriend, but like, Your Dad Will Do, he was like, yeah, let's get back at my son. I don't know how you come back from that as a dad. And I don't even remember if they ended up together. I feel like this one was very much less romance, more smut, so I just don't see them lasting. Now, the one book where I do feel like the couple would make it is Praise. I think that this couple would make it. Their relationship does start out with that ex-boyfriend's dad dynamic, but I think that it goes beyond that more so than the other books. Also, this heroine is a little bit older. I just feel like their dynamic was more grounded in like emotions rather than the taboo-ness of the situation. So I do feel like they would last. Red, White, and Royal Blue, I'm gonna put in 50-50. It's the president's son and the British crown prince. They would have so much like attention on them, so much media attention, trying to tear them down, trying to tear them apart. Celebrity couples in general, the odds aren't great, but then you make it the president's son and the prince, I feel like there's a very good chance they wouldn't last. Then we have Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, and I think that they would make it. I'm tempted to put them in Soulmates. I don't really know if I would put it that far. It's kind of like towing the line between these two, but I feel like the reason that they would make it, well, one, I think they were a great couple, but also I think that if she were ever to leave him, Pestilence would kill himself. I think he would rather be dead than not be with her. And as soon as she left him, he would be like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore, and just kill himself. Am I wrong? Are you gonna sit there and tell me that I'm wrong? No. The next one is A Nordic King by Karina Halley. I think that they would make it. This heroine would be an idiot to ever leave him. I mean, like, you're a nanny and you bag a king? Where are you going? Sit your ass down. You're not going anywhere. But I also loved this couple. I think they were really cute together. Then we have Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher, which is a book I just recently read, and they're going in Soulmates. If you watched my last video, you will know this is probably my favorite book of the year. I'm obsessed with this couple. Obsessed, and I really think they're soulmates. I think that they're perfect for each other. They're made for each other. I'm in love with them. And this is another couple that like, they would die for each other. And then even once they died, they would find each other in the afterlife. They would not let death tear them apart. Then we have The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Johnson. I think this couple would make it. You know, they went through a lot. They mutually tried to kill each other, and they made it through that. Like, if you can make it through murder plots, man, you can make it through anything. Okay, the next one is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I think this would be divorce. When I read this book, I thought that Chloe and Red made really great friends. I didn't really buy a romantic aspect to their relationship, so I feel like this would be like an amicable breakup. I feel like they would realize they're better off as friends, and then they would just be friends, and there would be no drama. Then we have A Girl Like Her, also by Talia Hibbert, and I think that they would make it. Listen, I think once you find a man who cooks food for you and then pretends to be into comic books just so he can hang out with you, hold on to him. He cooks food for her. The Initiation by Nikki Sloan. This is in Divorce Babe. This is a couple that I'm just shocked they even lasted together. What? She forgave? Girl, you need to reevaluate that. I am hopeful that she is playing the long game because he's very rich. So I'm hopeful that she's just holding out to the perfect moment to leave him and take all his money. Just take it all. She would be right to do so. Then we have The Surviving Trace, and I think that they would make it. This is a couple that chased each other through time. If you're willing as a woman to give up your life and time travel into the past just to be with somebody, what other obstacle is gonna drive you apart? Then we have Sea of Ruin, and I'm gonna put this in Soulmates. I think that this couple is perfect together. The amount of things that they worked through in this book leads me to believe that they could work through any problem. Like, if you read this book and you did not come to the conclusion that they're soulmates, I don't know what book you read. It probably was the wrong one. Then we have Forget Me Not, which I'm gonna put in 50-50 for the reason that this man is a cheater. And listen, do I think that he groveled and made up for what he did? Yes. However, I'm also of the belief that if you cheat once, it's likely you'll cheat again. I mean, I could see him, you know, learning from his mistake, or I could see him making the same mistake. So they're gonna be 50-50. Then we have The Pool Boy, which, unlike The Doctor, I think that they would make it. I think that this couple had a lot more of an emotional connection over just a physical connection, and I think they really suited each other and worked well together. Only When It's Us by Chloe Lees, I also think that this couple would make it. If you find a man who will read to your sick mom, he's a keeper. Beach Read by Emily Henry, I also think they would make it. Solely because of the quote, "Why do you think January?" If you know, you know. Like, was this the best romance? No. Am I in love with Gus? Yes. Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, I'm gonna put in 50-50. This couple, I think they're very much equals. They're very strong, very powerful, very stubborn. It works, but I could see them also like butting heads so much to the point where it drives them apart. But then we have Stolen Air, and I think that the couple in Stolen Air would make it. I think they were perfect together. I think there's no way that they would ever leave each other. And then we have It Happened One Summer. I'm kind of back and forth between they would make it and 50-50. I think they would make it, I do. Okay, I think they would make it. I do think they're very different, they're very opposites, but unlike The Simple Wild, where I feel like they're opposites in a way that might not complement each other, I feel like in It Happened One Summer, they really balance each other in a way that just works. Twisted Love, I think that they would make it. Again, they're very opposites. He's grumpy, she's sunshine, and it works. Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. You guys know where this is going. They're soulmates. This is the romance that made me believe in soulmates. I think with everything that they went through in this book, all the things that they overcame and worked through, and it brought them back together, amazing. Chef's kiss. A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor, I'm gonna put this in 50-50, and here's why. This is a reverse harem, and I think that the majority of this harem would stay together. However, there's one member of the harem, and I think he would just fuck everything up. I really do. I think that he's gotta be booted. He's gotta be cut. The weakest link has to go. The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood, I think they would last. I think they're a really cute couple. I think they worked together. The Charm Offensive, I think that they would make it. However, I'm a big fan of The Bachelor, and I'm in the Bachelor fandom. And let me tell you, that fandom is like sharks, okay? If they smell even a sprinkle of blood, they attack. There are very few couples in the Bachelor world that have lasted. Most of them break up, and if they don't break up, they're torn apart by the fans. So I think that this couple has a very uphill battle. The book ends right when their season is airing, but I think that they would work. I think they would work through it. Then we have Her Soul to Take by Harley Laroux, and I think that this couple would last. Opposites opposite to what I said about Pestilence, I think that if she ever tried to leave him, Leon would kill her. He would kill her and drag her to hell with him so that she could never leave him. So I think they would make it. And we have Hook, Line, and Sinker, which was actually the inspiration for this whole video because I think this couple would not make it. They're going in divorce. I loved this romance. However, I think that by the end of the book, Fox had not really worked through his problems. At the first sign of conflict or anything, he would revert back to his old self and sabotage the entire relationship. And whether or not he keeps groveling, I think eventually Hannah would be over it. So I do not think that this couple would last. Then we have Unhinged, which is also going in divorce because this is another serial killer romance. I just don't think that you have a good future with a serial killer. I don't. Hooked, I'm putting in 50-50. I really liked this romance. However, there was kind of a plot twist at the end of the book that I feel like could shake up their relationship. I don't really know how they would, you know, work through it. I could see them working through it and being stronger for it, or I could see it being like a wrench in their relationship. So I don't know, they're 50-50. Then we have Mafia Mistress, and they're going in divorce. I have no idea how this couple even ended up together. I don't know why she wasn't running for the hills. The two people in this couple are just like the worst, which like maybe they're meant for each other. Maybe that means they're soulmates. I don't know, but I don't see this relationship working out. And then lastly, Eyes on Me by Sarah Kate, which I'm gonna put in they would make it. For multiple reasons. One being, I think that if you're at the point where as step siblings, you go to your parents and say, hey, I'm in love with my little stepsister and we're gonna be together, you can't walk that back. You can't undo that. Then every Christmas, every family gathering for the rest of your life would just be the worst time ever. So I think if you're at that point, you just gotta live with it. Even if you change your mind, you're stuck. You have to go with it. But I also think that this couple would make it. I really loved them together. But again, like if you're at the point where you're like publicly coming out with your step sibling, there's no undo. There's no undo. So there is my ranking of romance couples. As you can see, I have a very small number of couples that I think are soulmates. I've had some people ask me to do a soulmates recommendation video, but like this would be it. I also think that it's interesting because a lot of these romances down here in the divorce babe category, I loved. Same with in the 50-50 category. I'm realizing that the longevity of a couple has absolutely no bearing on if I'm gonna like a romance book or not, but I'd be really curious to know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of my assessments of these couples. Also, let me know if you want me to do a part 2 because there are so many more romance couples that I could rank. Thank you for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye! You guys can see the box of Cheez-Its that I keep next to my bed? Y'all didn't see that.